We're now joined in studio, Joe, with our next
with Annie
guest.
Dinner and Shulagh Colleran from the Manchannon Arts Festival, which we are all looking forward to coming round again now in a couple of weeks' time. So, and the launch of the brochure is next Saturday, as I mentioned earlier. And so, are you going to tell us a bit about what we've got coming up and looking forward to in the festival?
Hi, Joe. Hi, Tom. Yeah, certainly. We're very excited ourselves. This year, you might know that we've condensed our festival into a 4-day long weekend or 5-day long weekend. It used to be over 2 weekends, and so we've really upped every element of it. Really,
and the dates, Shulagh?
Dates from the 1st of June, Thursday, to the 5th.
Monday the 5th of June,
yes. Yeah.
And the theme of this year's festival is connection, which is really important to us because without the connection with the community, we couldn't put the festival together. The local sponsorship, the provision of venues, we just couldn't do it without all of that connection.
Absolutely.
Well, we're all dependent on the community here in this. Radio stations, nothing's any different. Really.
And that's kind of what makes the festival unique. You know, we've got all these really quirky, interesting venues. I think that's what people like as well.
And it's going for many years now at this stage, isn't it?
This is the 27th festival.
Wow.
Yes.
I remember the first one.
Do you really?
I think I remember the 5th one because I wasn't living here before that, but I went to the 5th one. I remember
You weren't alive then.
I'll tell you what,
Thank you very much.
on a Sunday afternoon in the old rectory, Brian Kennedy was playing.
Really?
You know, and I hadn't heard of him before that. I said, wow, you know. And, you know, in those days, a lot of the artists that went on to be famous afterwards featured in their early days in the festival. You know. Great credit to you. Not to talk about the arts itself, you know.
But that's it. Every festival, we were just saying, every committee has its own personality. It brings its own personality to the festival, and so it's very varied. It has been very varied over the last 26, 27 years.
So you're now the custodians of that.
Yeah,
Exactly.
And
what we've done for this festival is that we've tried to provide an array of things for different tastes. So there's an awful lot of music, and there are art exhibitions, there are 3 theatre pieces, and there are lots of workshops, plus lots for children as well. So it's a very packed schedule because it's a shorter time frame this year.
Good. So do you want to tell us what each of the areas, tell us a little bit what's on and what we can look forward
maybe,
to?
Annie, you start with the galleries and the exhibitions that we have.
Yeah. We have 2 local artists, Sive O'Neill and Rachel Maloney, who each have an installation. One is at Anita's, that is Rachel, and she has an installation called Flowing and Ebbing. So it's an underwater world of fabric, interpreting under the sea. And Sive, funnily enough, has a water theme as well. Her pieces are large pieces of mosaics of mermaids, mermen, mer kings, mer princes, mer queens. So it's very immersive. So they're two very visual ones. We also have a number of other artists in various locations throughout the village, in the market hall, in the Ashton building, and of course Anita's. And we also have this year an exhibition of twins called It's a Twin Thing, where local twins have been photographed for the exhibition.
Yeah, we've got 10 sets of twins, and it's. I'm looking forward to that.
Are these
myself.
all from Manchannon, these twins?
Manchannon, Whitegate, Scariff.
That's a lot of twins.
Yeah, and we didn't
That's
get
something
them all.
in the water, perhaps. I'm particularly interested in this the exhibition, art exhibition at Under the Oak. I think that's for local artists, and I got an email saying that anybody who's a local artist, and as some people here may know, I do a little bit of dabbling with watercolours myself. So we are invited to submit entries by, is it May the 18th?
That's right.
And then I presume there'll be a selection committee who will decide, or you will just hopefully be able to fit everyone
We'll
in.
get you in.
Yeah.
We'll
But, yeah, okay. I'll keep my piece small
You've
so
lovely
I can be.
watercolours,
Thank
Joe,
you.
actually.
Yeah,
I have a
but
piece.
so that's lovely to see something
Yeah.
for local amateur artists who
Yeah.
you know, sometimes don't get an opportunity to display their work, and it's a great encouragement. And another way of getting the local people involved.
Exactly, and
Yeah.
the pieces are for sale with no commission to us.
Yeah.
It all goes to the artist.
Yeah.
Yes, I think there are about 20 artists involved.
Yeah, I
That's
think
great.
25
Yeah.
pieces.
Yeah.
And as well, the photography exhibition also gets
Of
in our
course.
local photographers. So that will be exhibited on Anita's window, or Keen's window, you know, the pub.
Yeah.
So we've 25 submissions, and yeah, it's always for children and for adults, but amateur.
Yeah. That's great.
And yeah, you talked about the child. Did we talk about the
Oh,
the
there's a
local
child's
school
view, yeah.
children have if you want to use your QR code or go around the village, there are QR codes around the village, and the school children of Montshannon will guide you to places of interest, or will give you some background information on those.
Oh, so
Really?
you
Yeah.
take your mobile phone with you and point it at the QR code, and
Exactly.
you will then hear the audio track or whatever it is. Oh, that's great. That's
Recorded by the children.
That's wonderful. Yeah. So great.
Every village, I think, should have something like that.
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah. So yeah, you were saying music is a big thing this year. We've invested heavily in music. So we have the marquee as usual, and that's jam packed for both days. And
That would be in the Astor, is it?
in the Astor
Yeah,
Park,
Grand
yeah.
Astor Park, yeah.
So it starts at 11 and goes on till 8. And but then we have on the Saturday and the Sunday. Well, let me start with the Thursday night. Shiva is
On Friday night.
On Friday night,
Yeah.
sorry, yeah. Candlelit Tales are coming to open the festival, and in the Church of Ireland, and they're a mix of music and storytelling.
Based on Irish mythology.
Yeah.
So they tell a story, and then there's music to go with the story. And what they say in their piece, which I like the sounds of very much, is that we will make you laugh, make you cry, make you even roar.
That's great.
And well, you've seen Shiva before, Annie.
I have.
Yeah, and she's coming on Friday to the Church of Ireland as well.
So she's on Friday in the Church of Ireland at 8 on June 2nd. And Shiva is from Ennis. And I don't know anyone else who has such the most beautiful jazzy, bluesy voice and sings in Irish. It's really very, very beautiful, very involving. Her music is very evocative, and she has a keyboard player who's absolutely terrific. So they are a real pleasure to listen to.
Something to look forward to. Shulagh, then?
Yeah, and then on Saturday night, after the marquee music finishes up, for the first time we're bringing a big-ish event to Spud's, you know, Percussion
Yes.
Hana, his big covered area behind. He's kind
Yeah,
of got a big
yeah.
shed, and so we're bringing Socks in the Frying Pan. You may or may not have heard of them.
I'm afraid I
One
didn't.
of our well, there's a lot of excitement about it.
Yeah.
They're a great band.
Yeah, you've seen
Yeah,
them.
yeah. I saw them in Fecal there some couple of years ago or some years ago.
Yeah.
Yeah, fantastic.
Yeah, well, they're a trio, and it's kind of funky, trad, folky. It's a mix. It's kind of. But Shane, one of the trio, he works in our school in Scariff, so there's a lot of excitement in school about them coming, and teachers, students, but also they have their own following. So it's selling well, and get your tickets. So that's we're looking forward to that collaboration with
And tell me,
Coshahana.
for all events that need tickets, where can they be got?
On our website, monshannonarts.com.
And they're all,
.ie.
.ie, and they're all for sale now. And Socks in the Frying Pan will be supported by Lisa Glass, who comes from a local musical family.
Yeah.
Is this related to Denise Glass?
Yes, her daughter.
Ah, oh, is she? Right. Okay. Well, I know Denise
she's-
from a long time ago.
Pedigree is good then.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
She recently won Young Singer-Songwriter Award, a singer-songwriter award with Clare FM, and went on to the national final.
Okay.
So Shane is really excited. They're excited to play with each other actually,
Yeah, yeah.
so she'll open and then they'll continue. So
And the third big music event is a band called the Eskies. They're from Dublin, and they're supported by Mules and Men. And I have not seen the Eskies live, but I've seen some videos and some YouTube work of theirs, and they're great. They're very involving. They'll make us want to get up and dance, which is great. And for those three events, Shiva, Socks in the Frying Pan, and the Eskies, you can buy a threesome ticket, which is obviously cheaper than buying them three separately. Okay. Again, on the website.
Yeah, and if you buy a wristband, a festival wristband, every event is cheaper, and a lot of events or a lot of things on the program are completely free.
And a great way of supporting the festival.
Yeah.
And of course, I'm just thinking back to last year, our own Jim Collins featured, didn't he? Yeah, he's he's smiling here in the background.
Oh, yes.
Jim, are you featuring this year?
I don't think so.
Yeah, Jim led our parade last year, and
The drums.
yeah, was that what you were talking about?
Does, yes.
So next year we need someone to get that going again, Jim.
And we have three theatre pieces.
Ah, yes.
Which I'm really looking forward to all three of them. One is Midnight Court, which we know of. It's the local director Paul Brennan.
Yes.
And it's a story we I think we all know.
And a local poet.
And a
Long
local
since
poet.
passed, but
Yes.
Brian
Yes.
Merriman, of course, yes.
Yes. And a one-woman piece by a woman called Kathy Carson, who's from Northern Ireland. She's from Belfast. And another piece called Playback Theatre, which is an interactive piece of theatre where a person in the audience suggests something that the three interpreters then act out, and there's a musician that supports that as well. It could be family distress, it could be the perils of COVID, it could be anything, and the three actors then interpret it with words and actions. It's very
That
involving.
sounds really exciting
And
as
that's
well.
in the Church of Ireland.
Yeah, and they offer a workshop as well. If you want to do a workshop in this form of theatre, you can do that as well over the weekend. And we've lots of workshops over the weekend.
A busy few days.
Yeah, in writing, in drama like there,
Yes,
and
yes, yeah.
workshops for kids. There's the...
So just remind us again, montshannonarts.ie. Is that
Yeah.
correct? Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, all the information is
You
there.
can buy
so.
your tickets there.
And you said the brochure launch is what, next Saturday?
Next Saturday in Under the Oak,
Yes.
come. There'll be lovely coffee and bakes. The local artist exhibition will be up, and you'll get to maybe meet people. You might want to volunteer yourself, maybe.
Is that the danger of turning up that you could get a job, is it?
You'll meet lots of lovely people.
Yeah.
And to talk a little bit more about the workshops, Playback Theatre Group will have a workshop on how to interpret a story. And there is a poetry and film workshop with Colm Scully. There are two events on Sunday morning and Monday morning. And Arnold Thomas Fanning, who is a writer who has a memoir called Mind on Fire, which is about the decade of his life when he was in great mental turmoil. And he's also doing a workshop after that, on a different day, about the writing process, particularly about the writing of a memoir. And there's an origami workshop. And we have also a collage workshop. And then finally, we have something that I've never seen. It's a demonstration of a kind of pottery that comes from Russia called obvara. So that's on Monday. It's not an interactive. It's not a workshop. It's a demonstration of how you do this process.
And something that has piqued my interest is the Eco Showboat. I met this couple last year. They travelled the length of the Shannon last year on a solar-powered boat to demonstrate that there are alternative ways of, locomotion without having to use fossil fuels, but they also do or get involved with art installations at each stop, and they're going to be in at the festival on Saturday the 27th, and they'll be working alongside Paul Berg, who has an interesting floating musical, I suppose you might call it a musical instrument, and others. As well as having talk with Niall O'Brolacon about peatland conservation and so on. So that'll be, it's an interesting boat to have a look at. And this year, I believe they are trying to go up the Grand Canal towards Dublin and then possibly down the River Barrow as well, all powered by the sun. And I'm listening to the rain falling outside as I talk and thinking, well, best of luck to them.
They will be in Mount Shannon Harbour from the Wednesday before, so they'll be there 3 days in advance of the 27th of May.
And everyone's invited down to visit them and have a look at the
Exactly.
boat and talk to them, and really interesting couple, artists
There's an
as
interview
well.
opportunity for us, Jim.
Absolutely.
And actually, the festival has started today. There's a workshop this morning. There was a workshop this morning with Ron Carey, a writer. It's kind of a dual workshop. So participants have met with the writer Ron Carey this morning, and will meet with Margaret Curran, a visual artist, in the afternoon, and work together on. It's called The Fire in Me Now. So it's designed to inspire older artists, so people who might have come to their creative truth, whatever, later in life.
A bit like Joe Griffin there.
Yeah, like Joe Griffin,
yeah.
and so they're working away today, this morning and this afternoon, and it'll culminate during the festival when Ron, the writer, will read from his new book, Songs for Older Life, and there'll be an audience discussion afterwards as well.
Very good.
But there's lots more, guys. There's so much more that we like. Irish. There's the usual
The pop-up Gaeltachts.
pop-up Gaeltacht,
Yes.
and also kind of connected with that later in the weekend, on Monday, Diarmuid de Fueta. It looks really interesting. He brings us on. Diarmuid de Fueta and friends bring us on a 350-year journey through the native Irish language song heritage of Clare. So. As tales, songs, music from every corner of the county. And Keen's, of course, that's new, but Keen's, every year there's a singing session in Keen's in the afternoon on the bank holiday Monday. So don't miss it.
And the last event of the festival is late on the last night. It's at 9:00 in the Church of Ireland, and it's called Interconnectivity. And it is something that you will never see, you've never seen before or heard before. It's a local man called Slavic Kwai who is a sound artist. And he is capturing sounds from outside the church at that time. So that's why it's so late, because the birds settling down, the bats, the earth moving. And he amplifies, changes, distorts those sounds into a new music. So it often sounds like whale song, or it's an extraordinary thing. So that will be the final the final event of the festival.
Yeah, and all that day he's going. The Church of Ireland will be. He'll have taken over the whole church. So you can just come in during the day and see his setup and talk to him and hear the noises, and it's a real sensory experience.
He has a fish tank with bubbles, and he amplifies the sounds of the bubbles, which turn into something completely different. You would never connect the two, but it's a magical sound.
And I'm still going to say, sorry, children as well. There's a workshop it's called Strong Woman Science.
I was going to talk about that. Yes, is that for children or for adults? Because it does say in there, if you ever wanted to know how to balance a chair on your chin, I would actually like to be able to do that.
Again, we'll get
to both, Joe.
So yes, indeed. Just something different, you know,
Something
and
different.
or juggling liquids. I mean, that's a great sounds. I mean, I'm juggling some water here, but I'm not careful
Thought
not
we'd
to
had
spill
your
it.
experience of
But
that for you at the
and
pubs.
women in science, of course, is it's always great because I think there has been a move over the last year to increase women's representation in the sciences. Lots of women who were
STEM
involved in
subjects,
sciences over the years have been totally ignored. I mean, Ada Lovelace, one of the people who was involved in the invention of the first computer. Many people think computers were invented by men. No, Ada Lovelace, Byron's daughter, was a very strong woman in science. So yes, more representation for women in science, the
Marie
better.
Curie, yeah.
And after the performance, there's a workshop. So you can actually try and balance that chair on your chin afterwards.
Okay, I'll be
I see
there.
it, Clinton Joe's
I'll give it
Joe,
a go.
You're going to try that
But
again.
no cameras allowed, please.
So, ladies, thanks for taking the time to come into us here and whet our appetites for what's ahead
and there's
for
more.
the first weekend, really, isn't it? June, yeah.
Yeah, that's
yeah.
it. Yeah.
On the weekend, yeah. And information again, mounshannonarts.ie.
.ie.
Yeah, and there'll be links for the ticket sales on that. And of course, you'll have some of the brochures available, will you, in the local shops and
Yeah.
things? Yeah,
We've
They're already
they've
there.
been sent
They're
out.
already
They
there.
should, if
Good.
there's any place you can't see them, get on to me. We'll get
You'll
them
make sure
there
they're
fast.
there. Very
Yeah.
good, very good. Yeah. You suggested a little piece of music from the Eskies.
Yeah, yeah. One of their more lively pieces, or they're all very lively pieces. So,
Jesus, don't save me.
Please.
So let's give to the Eskies.